How's it going, everyone? Wave 2 of PlayStation Store's holiday sale has kicked off, and there's a ton of great stuff cycling into this sale as a part of the second wave. And here I am to highlight some of the deals under $3. These are some games that I've played, some I haven't. It seems like you guys have been enjoying me just giving attention to more underrated games and games that we don't talk about. We got timestamps, so if you want to skip through, a lot of the earlier titles are going to be the games I've played and I've mentioned before, but then as we get deeper into the video, you'll see some new mentions. So with that being said, let's get right into it, and let's start things off with quite possibly one of the best deals across this entire sale, and that is Castle Crashers Remastered, 85% off for $2.24. We're past the holiday season, so to speak. You know, I get that this is called the holiday sale, but we're into the new year now, and Castle Crashers is one of those games, however, that I often say has, like, the spirit of a holiday game. Like, when you're in the holidays, you're in a festive mood, it's good vibes all around. And what game has good vibes like Castle Crashers? Well, there's a lot of games that have good vibes like Castle Crashers, but Castle Crashers is one of the best ones in terms of just offering great co-op mayhem and action fun, a great art style, and a game that you don't have to take too seriously, but it's a lot of fun. I do recommend you to play this game with a couple of friends. Can you play it solo? Absolutely, and I've actually seen when I note that, you know, I really do recommend playing Castle Crashers cooperatively. A lot of people in the comments I've seen be like, yo, you can play Castle Crashers solo. Yeah, you can play it, but to me, that co-op joyful experience that Castle Crashers offers is one of the biggest drawing factors of it. I think it's a great game. All these years later, it's still a standout co-op experience to me, and for $2.24, no-brainer there. Speaking of games that are standouts to me from a different era, Bastion, Supergiant Games' first title. I get that Supergiant Games gets a lot of credit these days for Hades, and rightfully so. Hades is tremendous. Hades 2 is tremendous in early access on PC and Steam, and they've done great work with Transistor and Pyre, but Bastion was their coming out party. And if you guys don't remember, when Bastion came out, I think it was a game that to a lot of people kind of showcased what these downloadable arcade games could really be. Like back in the day with Xbox Live Arcade titles, you know, we didn't know how far downloadable games could really take it, and then we got titles like Shadow Complex, Mark of the Ninja, and Bastion, I think, really showcasing that, hey, these smaller budget downloadable titles could be truly great. And Bastion to this day, awesome art style, great narration. Like, if I could say one thing out of Bastion that really stuck with me when I initially played it is the narrator. I don't know who he is, but he did a great job with it. And again, the gameplay isn't anything to write home about. Like, it's totally serviceable, but I think from a presentation standpoint, the game is stellar. And for $2.99, a great pickup there for sure. Next up, we got a couple of arcane titles. Dishonored 2, 90% off for $2.99. Y'all know how I feel about Dishonored. I'm a sucker for it. A little bummed out that Arcane is going to move on to chasing that Marvel bag. Hey, I get it. Insomniac moved on, kind of moved on from Ratchet & Clank to chase that Marvel bag as well, with Spider-Man and Wolverine upcoming and Dishonored. Looks like it'll be going to the wayside as Arcane is going to do Marvel's Blade. But Dishonored is just a tremendous game from an action stealth standpoint, and the way you can approach the game, I think, is really well done in terms of how many different avenues you have and how you want to play the game. Do you want to go the more methodical and stealthy approach, where I do believe that is the way the game is the most rewarding, or do you want to go the high-octane, action-heavy approach? Either way, you're gonna have a good time, and you do have two playable main characters. I do highly recommend you to play Dishonored 1 before you jump into Dishonored 2, but a great game nevertheless, and $2.99 for that, a great pickup for sure. Prey, 90% off for $2.99, done by Arcane Austin, the side of Arcane that has been shut down. They also did Redfall, you know, which I know everybody loved, obviously /S on that one, but Prey is a tremendous, tremendous game. From an atmosphere standpoint, this is one of the best games you're gonna come across. Incredibly engrossing, incredibly tense. Just loved it from a setting standpoint and a narrative standpoint. The gameplay is pretty solid as well. It's just a really well fleshed out game in just about every facet of, you know, being a quality video game of this style. I just thought they did a really good job with it. Would have been great to see a follow-up title, but, you know, Redfall gonna Redfall, but $2.99 for Prey, absolutely stellar. Definitely do check that out. Next up, we got Shadow Warrior 1 and 2, $2.99 a pop on these games. Fast-paced, high-octane action titles, first-person slasher shooters, however you want to describe. Just great. Narrative ain't anything to write home about, but from a gameplay standpoint, if you want to talk about having the pure fun factor in video games, having that over-the-top action mayhem, Shadow Warrior has that in spades, so definitely do check out Shadow Warrior 1 and 2. I do think Shadow Warrior 2 is the stronger game, but Both titles certainly worthwhile playing. Panzer Dragoon Remake, 90% off for $249. Now, this remake wasn't incredibly well received, but the fact is it's down to $2.49, and it notes a new remade version of the Panzer Dragoon game, a very iconic game from the Sega Saturn days. True to the original, with improved graphics and controls that suit modern gaming standards, on a far-alone planet, you encounter two dragons that awaken from the ancient times, armed with a deadly gun from the past and the guidance of your armored blue dragon. You must fulfill your destiny and keep the prototype dragon from reaching the tower or die trying. Pilot through 7 unbelievably realistic levels, ranging from tropical blue ocean cities to intricate subterranean ruins. Fight the prototype dragon, who appears together with evil giant dragonflies, frightening man-sized wasps, giant sandworms, and lethal flying battleships, and attack approaching from all sides, enemies quickly and without mercy, with improved 360-degree controls and lock-on targeting. Panzer Dragoon Remake is available again for $2.49. Next up, we have Remothered Tormented Fathers. If you're looking for an atmospheric horror title, this is one to be on the lookout for. Remothered Tormented Fathers is the pure and realistic survival horror game as noted. Received pretty well with a 77 on Metacritic. Psychology playing a huge role within the game, and the story revolves around Rosemary Reed, a fascinating 35-year-old woman who reaches Richard Felton's house in order to investigate on the disappearance of a girl called Celeste. The woman is greeted by Gloria, the nurse who takes care of the old Richard. When Dr. Felton understands Rosemary's true intentions, the dread begins. The game notes many ways to survive, psychological plot, movie-like cutscenes, audio clues, no health bars, realistic puzzles, a top-notch soundtrack, and more. All of that can be had for just $2.99, so if you're looking for an atmospheric horror game, that's one to have on the radar. Next up, we got Magicka 2, 80% off for $2.99. Magicka 1 was actually done by One Arrowhead Game Studios. Yes, that Arrowhead that has done Helldivers 2, and obviously with immense success with Helldivers 1 as well. Magicka 2 followed up on the success of Magicka 1 and once again became a chaotic co-op experience. It's not a game to take all too seriously. Like, if you get tilted at video games, Magicka might not be the, avenue you want to get into, but if you want a fun cooperative experience, Magicka 2 will certainly offer that, and even if you do play it solo, you can have a good time with it. Again, not a game to take all too seriously, but if you want something that is a little bit charming, a little bit chaotic, and has some great spellcasting gameplay, I think Magicka 2 is a solid shout at $2.99. Next up, we have God's Trigger, 80% off for $2.99. Great art style on this one. Slay enemies with speed and precision in an over-the-top show of blood and explosions. Play solo or with others, make split-second decisions, dodge bullets, and use weapons and abilities to inflict violence in the most graphic way possible. When an angel and demon team up to kill their way into heaven and stop the apocalypse, bullets will fly and blood will be shed. Play solo or with a friend and burst through a room in a matter of seconds, killing enemies with a bucket load of weapons, special abilities, and melee options in a show of blood and explosions. Again, that is available for $2.99. Next up, we have Absolver. I wanted to give this a shout because this is actually done by Slowclap, who have done Sifu, and they are working on the soccer game that I cannot remember the name of right now. Now, this game at launch did have an online focus. If you're trying to get this game and play it from an online standpoint, that really isn't going to fly anymore. You're going to have to stick with the content for what it is available. This game really set the foundation of what I think Slowclap would become, because from a melee combat standpoint, it is a incredibly, I don't want to say completely polished game, but from a fundamental game design standpoint, I thought there was a lot of interesting ideas. Fluid real-time combat, position yourself in one of 4 tactical stances during real-time battles, and execute devastating attacks, dodges, and parries. Movement becomes your weapon as you engage in solo duels or intense multiplayer melee battles. At $2.99, not a bad shout as far as a price is concerned. Obviously, Slowclap got much better when it came to Sifu, but this was the game they came out with, and I'm interested to see how that soccer game turns out. Honestly, it's a little bit wacky and a little bit zany. Soccer games, as far as what Slowclap would be doing, wouldn't have been what I would have predicted, but hey, if they want to try something a little bit different, I'm all about that. We'll see how that turns out. Next up, we got Dead Island Definitive Collection at 90% off for $2.99. You've got Dead Island and its undead successor in Riptide bundled with all previously released DLC as well. Improved graphics and game modes, glorious 1080p resolution, photorealistic lighting system with physicality-based shading. This came out all the way back in 2016, so keep that in mind in terms of the upgrades you get here versus, a game getting upgraded these days. Dead Island's a fun time. Like, I remember when Dead Island and Riptide came out, on the 360 era, in the 360 era, I should say. Like, they were totally serviceable, fine zombie slaying games that you could have some fun with. Are they blowaway? Are they gonna be emotionally gripping? Probably not. As far as fun games you can spend maybe listening, like, I would put this in the category of a potential podcast game where if you want to play a game while listening to a podcast, Dead Island kind of fits that bill. I never got, like, that narratively invested into Dead Island, but from a gameplay standpoint, slicing up some zombies is always gonna be a good time, and for $2.99 to get both titles, that's a pretty solid shout, all things considered. Next up, we got Leap of Fate. This is a super slick game from a presentation standpoint. Experience an extremely fast and satisfying action game built around the ability of Shadow Walk. Upgrade over 100 magical skills through an innovative system of randomly generated skill trees. Discover the profound and intense stories of 4 characters told through beautifully illustrated cinematics and explore a modern-day cyberpunk fantasy spanning cybernetics labs, dark alleys, and secret societies as well. Combat in Leap of Fate is noted to be extremely quick and deadly. Not only will you face more than 100 different types of enemies ranging from pit fighters to mad cultists and hidden turrets, but the procedurally generated levels will keep you on your toes at all times. $2.99 for Leap of Fate. You can check that out right now. Next up, we got Far Lone Sails. This is a game that I've mentioned a few times on this channel, and I think it's a great game from an atmosphere standpoint. It is more of an adventure game where you get immersed into the environments and the world, no real action gameplay or anything like that, and it's a fairly short game. It's 80% off for $2.99 for non-Plus subscribers. Plus subscribers will get it for $1.49, so if you are a Plus subscriber, that's a no-brainer. Like, $1.49 for Far Lone Sails is excellent. A vehicle adventure game and a unique vehicle. You travel across a dried-out ocean, following the tracks of a once thriving civilization. Interesting exploration element and a fantastic art style, given the style of game that it goes for, with a really cool presentation style. Again, for $2.99 or $1.49 if you're a Plus subscriber, that's a fantastic deal. And then lastly, we do have Valley, which is 85% off for $2.24. A first-person adventure unlike any other, hidden deep within a remote region of the Rocky Mountains. You find yourself bewildered within a secluded valley with the power of a recently discovered leap suit that is leap effortlessly through air functionality. Run and jump your way through beautiful forests, dangerous ruins, and vast environments, all the while utilizing the power to control life and death to uncover the startling secrets of the mysterious valley. Be forewarned, with these newfound abilities comes a daunting repercussion. The more you experience death within the valley, the more the valley will die around you. If you're looking for a platforming adventure game, $2.24 for Valley. Another one to check out there, and was received fairly well, all things considered. But that is going to do it for me. Again, a lot of deals under the price of $3, and we might circle back and do another video going over some deals under $3 because there's a lot more stuff on top of that. But quite a lot of games and options here. Check them out for yourself. Links to all of these in the description box below. As always, thank you for watching. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.